Following her failed love affair, a witch seeks vengeance on her lover. She puts a curse on Barnabas, turning him into a vampire, and imprisons him. Later, he breaks free and travels to his newly developed hometown. Stick around to the end to see how his adventure unfolds. Hello and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today, we're going to give you a recap of the film Dark Shadows, which is a movie from the fantasy comedy horror genre. An interesting film that will not just make you laugh, but due to its horror elements, will keep you at the edge of your seat. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. You will certainly have a thrilling time. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. The film starts, and Barnabas Collins begins with a voiceover prologue. We see a young Barnabas who is going aboard a ship with his wealthy parents. As he is entering the crossway that leads to the ship, he turns around and sees a small girl looking at him. She is accompanied by a black cloaked lady, who, when noticing the eye contact, stops the girl, who we come to know is known as Angelique. Later, Barnabas talks about the importance of blood and how it binds people together as family. The Collins family departed Liverpool, England when Barnabas was just a little boy, around 10 years old. This occurred in the year 1752, as the family aimed to settle in the New World. Here, they built a fishing business, the likes of which America had never seen. As their fishing business grew, the surrounding town grew with it. As a result, the Collins family decided to put down permanent roots. They spent the next 15 years working tirelessly to build something they could call home, and eventually founded the seaside town of Collinsport in Maine, in the foundation manor of Collinwood. The scene changes and we see Barnabas and a girl, who would later become known as his French maid Angelique Boucard, kissing behind the curtains. This is the same Angelique Barnabas saw at the harbor years ago when they were little. Angelique breaks the kiss and asks Barnabas to say that he loves her, as she was hopelessly in love with him. Barnabas, who was once an attractive aristocrat, politely rejects her, saying that he would be lying if he said that he loved her, and thus resists Angelique's advances. This angers Angelique. Later, we learn that in 1776, when his parents die mysteriously, Barnabas becomes obsessed with dark magic and curses. As a result, he discovers that Angelique is a witch, but before he can intervene, she hypnotizes the love of his life, Josette Dupree, into plunging off Widow's Hill, which is a high, jagged cliff. Barnabas tries to save her but fails to do so, later also jumping off the cliff, but Angelique curses him to be a vampire, prolonging his agony. She then discloses his monster nature to the Collinwood people, who turn against him and imprison him in a box buried in a lonely woodland. Victoria Winters, a governess from New York City, comes to Collinwood via train in 1972. Elizabeth Collins' daughter, the current family matriarch, has hired her to look after her young nephew David, who has lost his mother and apparently his mind as he appears to communicate with her. Victoria also meets the rest of the family, including David's shady father Roger, Elizabeth's sassy teenage daughter Caroline, David's alcoholic psychiatrist Dr. Julia Hoffman, and the servants Mrs. Johnson and Willie Loomis. As she settles in for the night, she notices a familiar apparition who cryptically warns her of an approaching arrival. A crew of construction workers digs up Barnabas's box that night, and he jumps out and eats them all. He stumbles through 1972 Collinsport, dazed by the unfamiliar surroundings, but manages to return to Collinwood. He reveals to Elizabeth a secret vault in the mansion stocked with treasure to establish his identity. Nonetheless, he tells her that all he wants is to return to his home and family. Elizabeth agrees to let him stay as long as he doesn't disclose his true identity or the location of the riches. Barnabas begins to blend in with his kin the next day. He poses as a distant relative from England who has come to help the Collins family rebuild their fortunes. He learns that a new competitor, Angel Bay, has ruined the Collins fishing business and family, and that the owner has come to greet him, Angelique. She says that while he was away, she rose to the rank of a major chieftain of Collinsport, and now controls the entire town, having pushed the Collins to ruin via her power. She wounds Barnabas with daylight, but Elizabeth later pushes him to stand up to Angelique for the sake of the family. Barnabas goes to a hippie commune that Victoria knows to acclimate to the 1970s era, but instead ends up murdering everyone. Later, he offers that Collinwood organize a ball to re-establish the family name. He sees Roger collecting money from the guests and ignoring his son during this ball. Later, he has an intimate moment with Victoria, who tells him the truth about herself. She used to be Maggie Evans, and she had the ghost of Josette Dupree as her constant companion, an act that convinced her parents she was insane and landed her in a mental institution. She was able to flee and disguise herself as Victoria Winters, making her way to Collinsport. She is pulled to Barnabas, as if she has known him for a long time, and the two kiss, unaware that an irate Angelique is observing them. Barnabas realizes Dr. Hoffman has been taking his blood to make herself eternal the day after the ball. Angry, he kills her and throws her body into the water. Finally, he comes across Roger searching for the vault and gives him an ultimatum. Either be a good father to David, or leave with enough money to live well. To his son's dismay, Roger decides to abandon Collinwood and David. Barnabas saves an unknowing David when a ceiling ornament falls and nearly crushes him, but in doing so, he exposes his true nature to everyone, including David and Victoria, who withdraw from him. Barnabas approaches Angelique and requests that she remove his curse. She either invites him to join her and rule Collinsport together, or she locks him in the box and destroys all the things he values. He flatly refuses, so she keeps her word and locks him in the box, depositing it in an abandoned mausoleum where she intends to keep him until everything he cares about is destroyed. She begins by blowing up the Collins family factory and blames it on the Collins. She then manages to incite a rabid mob to assault Collinwood. David frees Barnabas, explaining that his ghost mother led him to the mausoleum. They arrive in Collinwood just as the mob is about to arrive. Barnabas offers to give up his family in exchange for Angelique's life, but then assaults her and fractures her skin. The town people mistake her for a witch as a result of this strange occurrence, and they abandon her and flee Collinwood as quickly as they can. The Collins then launch a coordinated attack on Angelique, with Barnabas wielding vampire powers, Willie wielding an axe, Elizabeth wielding a shotgun, Caroline wielding a werewolf, who is revealed to have been cursed by Angelique, and David summoning the spirit of his mother, whom Angelique drowned, to hurl Angelique into a chandelier. She cuts out her heart and offers it to Barnabas, despite the fact that she is mortally wounded. Following this, Barnabas searches for Victoria, while David learns through his mother that she is on her way to Widow's Hill. Barnabas rushes off and attempts to stop her, but she reveals that she intends to jump off the cliff of her own free will, unless Barnabas will turn her into a vampire like him so that they may be completely united. She leaps, and Barnabas saves her by biting her and converting her into a vampire. This fuses Josette's psyche with Victoria's, who awakens as a vampire and is now controlled by Josette. Despite Victoria's death, Barnabas concludes the video with a voiceover narration that Josette is now alive in Victoria's body, and they live happily ever after in the dark shadows, and his curse of perpetual pain and guilt as an immortal has come to an end. The body of the newborn vampire Dr. Hoffman reanimates at the bottom of the ocean in the final scene, and the movie ends. That's all the time for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to Comedy Recap, the best channel for comedy movie recaps. Lastly, do hit the bell icon to remain updated about all our future videos. Till then, see ya.